Let's continue by inverting a condition with the not operator. So we'll begin with a simple condition. Let's say trip duration. You want to filter for those trip durations greater than 1,000. Well, the not operator, which is done by this tilde character, will invert things, but you have to wrap the condition in parentheses because this tilde has higher precedence than the greater than sign. So this will just invert all these falses to true and true to false. And so it will become this. Let's go ahead and make the assign to the filter and then actually do the filtering like this. And this should only return trip durations that are less than or equal to 1,000, and that's what it does. So in actuality, you would never write this type of thing in pandas because there's just a much easier expression, and that is to use the less than or equal to. That is the natural inversion. You would not use a not operator in this instance. It's just to show you how to use it with a single condition. Let's look at a more complex example, which I already have written out. So here we have, we're filtering for trip durations greater than 1,000 and the gender equal to female. And at first we do this or condition, and let's go ahead and run this just as a or condition without the not operator first. So either one of these has to be true. And let's go ahead and look at a few more. So either the gender is female or the trip duration is greater than 1,000. Now, the inversion logic over here, so let's say we want to invert this. So we would take the whole operation and then wrap parentheses around it, and then use this tilde over here like this. And so this would actually, with the logic, have to have trip durations less than equal to 1,000 and the gender equal to male. So let's go ahead and do this. So these are the ones that do not, or that now fit this, these both conditions. So they have to be male and trip duration less than or equal to 1,000. Okay, again, you would probably not use a not operator here. You would try to write things using, the positive without trying to use the not operator. The reason is because it just adds a little bit more logic to what's happening. So I tend to try to figure out a way to write my conditions without using the not operator, but sometimes it's necessary and it does make sense. Let's look at one more example over here. So let's say we have two pretty large conditions. So the first one, let's see if we can understand this. It says we want the gender to be male. We want trip duration to be greater than or equal to 5,000 and less than or equal to 5,000. So we're looking for rides by males with a trip duration between 5 and 10,000. And then the second filter says we want rides by females with trip duration between 2,000 and 3,000. Notice these are both and conditions. These are two separate complex conditions. And then at the end, we will use this or filter or this or operator to say either one. So you have to be one of these two categories, male and trip duration between 5 and 10,000, or female and trip duration between 2 and 3,000. That's what this final thing does. And let's look at a few more just so we can verify here. So a male between 5 and 10,000, check. Female between 2 and 3,000, also good. Now, again, you can actually add the not at the very end. If you want to invert this, this will get everybody else. So these are pretty narrow conditions. So this should pick up most everything else. And if you notice over here, before I run this, you can see how there's a big gap between rows, which means very few rows actually satisfy this condition. So when we invert this, this will grab everything else, which is most of the other ones. And you can see here it actually grabs the very first 10. So only a few rows meet this very specific condition, and the not operator verifies that. So there's all sorts of different complex conditions you can do with and, or, and not, and these are just a few more examples.